To begin this lesson, open the file Chapter 9 Dynamics01.max from the Chapter 9 subdirectory of our project folder. Here we have a mock bowling alley with 2 pins and a ball that's going to roll down a staircase. Our goal is to have the ball roll down the stairs and knock the 2 pins over. To do this, we're going to use the Mass Effects toolbar to assign properties to our objects and perform the simulation. In an open spot on the main toolbar, right-click and choose the Mass Effects toolbar in order to open the Mass Effects tools. The first thing we need to do is assign our object types. For this simulation, we're going to have 2 different object types. The stairs will be a static object type, and the ball and the pins will be dynamic object types. Select the stairs object. From the Mass Effects toolbar, click and hold the Set Object Type button and choose the option Set Selected as Static Rigid Body. This sets the stairs as static rigid bodies, which will interact with other rigid bodies but are immovable. Before we move on, let's change the properties of the stairs. Click the Tool options in the Mass Effects toolbar in order to open the Mass Effects Tools dialog box. Then click on the Multi-Object Editor to display the object's rigid body properties. In the Physical Material rollout, click on the Presets drop-down and choose Concrete. Now we need to select the type of mesh the simulation will use for its calculations. In the Physical Mesh rollout, set the mesh type to Original. Now select the sphere and the 2 bowling pins. From the Mass Effects toolbar, click and hold the Set Object Type button and choose the Set Selected as Dynamic Rigid Body option. Deselect only the sphere by holding Alt and clicking on the Geosphere 001 object. With the 2 pins selected, make sure the Rigid Body Properties rollout is open, and check the Start in Sleep Mode checkbox. Now this sets up all the objects we need to have for the simulation to work. In the Mass Effects toolbar, click the Start Simulation button. You'll see the ball roll down the stairs and then slow down at the bottom of the stairs and never make it to knock over the pins. Let's fix this. First, click the Reset Simulation button from the Mass Effects toolbar. This will bring us back to the first frame of the animation. Then select only the sphere. In the Mass Effects Tools panel, under the Physical Material Properties rollout, click on the Preset drop-down, then choose Steel. This will turn the sphere into a solid steel sphere and make it significantly heavier than it currently is. Since this object is meant to be a perfect sphere, we can tell the simulation to use a sphere mesh type when calculating the simulation, which will make the simulation more accurate. In the Mass Effects Tools dialog, scroll the Edit tab until you see the Physical Mesh rollout. From the Mesh Type drop-down, choose the Sphere option. Once you choose the Sphere option, the radius will be automatically set to match the current object. Go ahead and click the Start Simulation button again. This time, the ball rolls down the stairs and picks up enough momentum to roll across the floor and knock down the pins. The last step is to bake the animation into the scene so we can play it back in the timeline as animated objects. In the Mass Effects Tools dialog, click Simulation Tools to open the Simulation Tools panel options. In order to bake the objects into the scene, click Bake All. This will generate keyframes for all the objects that are involved in the simulation. Click on the time slider and drag it to the right to scrub through the frames and display the baked version of the simulation. We just created a very simple simulation using the Mass Effects tools available within 3ds Max. Go ahead and save the file by pressing Ctrl+S.